Good morning. Good morning. It is 8 o'clock on the dot on a Wednesday morning. It is January the 29th. I'm WESH 2 first warning meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk, where we get together 7 days a week, chat about what's going on in the world of weather. Hopefully, starting your day off on the right note. Gotta tell you, in some cases, it's low clouds. In other cases, it is foggy. Dense fog advisory in effect, not for the metro, but for our northern and western and even southwestern neighbors. Just one of those things we have to deal with. So, heads up on that, my friends. We check out the visibility numbers around Central Florida, and you can very clearly see, ironically, the fog is in other spots, areas that are not necessarily under that dense fog advisory. Places like New Smyrna Beach, places like Daytona Beach. Cloud ceiling, think of this as how low the ceiling of clouds are, right? Makes sense. Very creative. Look at the numbers here. 200-foot ceiling in Sanford, 200-foot ceiling in DeLand, 300-foot ceiling in Daytona Beach. So definitely some low clouds in those spots. And we'll see that checking in on our tower cam networks. Let's start New Smyrna Beach, one of the spots that has the low cloud ceiling and the fog. There you go. This is from a high rise there. So of course it may not be perfect, right? That's to be expected. It's not necessarily ground level, but at least it kind of gives you an idea. Now we head down to Port Canaveral, and you can see here from at least Rusty's, it's a different story. Although that said, right, like just looking, you can kind of see that those wispy clouds are not too bad, but they're still there. Kennedy Space Center, I think that tower cam is still down. Yeah, it's trying to figure itself out, and it's not going to have success. All right, let's head over to Orlando. That one's, I need to get the new address for that one. So, okay, let's head over to downtown Orlando. The sun is shining bright. It is beautiful here, right? Gorgeous. Let's head over to our WESH 2 Studios Tower. I know that's downtown Orlando. This is WESH 2. I'm pushing all kinds of wrong buttons this morning. Whatever, pays the same, and I don't get paid for Coffee Talk, so it is what it is. All right, there's Disney Springs looking good. Let's check out Tavares, looking good. Ocala, one of the areas under the dense fog advisory. Not seeing fog. Isn't that funny how that works? So anyway, that's kind of where we are this morning. We peek in on our first warning live Doppler radar, and it is not tracking anything. So no rain, very comfortable out the door. I, for one, love this. 53 in Orlando, 51 degrees in the Villages. Kind of enjoying that. Once the fog lifts, it's going to be a beautiful morning. It's going to be a beautiful midday. It's going to be a beautiful afternoon. 73 degrees, our 3 o'clock temperature. Kind of love that. Kind of love that this morning. So liking that. Mike says foggish. Yeah, it's foggish. Foggy-ish, right? Okay. So beautiful day, west wind. It's going to mix up that fog. That won't be an issue. Average high temperature, y'all, has climbed. The average high is now 73. We'll be at 73 today. Yeah, I'll take that. Carbon Fiber over on YouTube says not dense at all, but slightly lingering. Yeah, in some spots it's foggy, some spots it's not. I don't think it's dense per se, but here we are. Yeah, not too bad. All right, so we're looking very, very nice today. Pattern is going to continue to look very, very nice from today's 70s to Friday's lower 80s. We are looking good. We are looking good. We are looking good. And that 81, just a reminder, we talked about this yesterday, but that 81 on Friday will be the first 80-degree reading in about a month since the day after Christmas. So I, for one, am loving this so much. So much. Keep all these fronts fading as far as I'm concerned. This weekend, weak front will be around us, bringing a couple of passing showers. It basically dies over us, and what we end up with is a couple of showers around, not just for our Saturday, but also for our Sunday. But Sunday, Pro Bowl at Camping World. Now, if you've lived here a while, you know that the Pro Bowl has notoriously had the filthiest of weather, the crummiest of weather. Finally, we're going to keep it nice. Yeah. Sunday, looking at temperatures in the 70s, mid to upper 70s. Finally, we're going to time it out just perfectly. So that's good. So Pro Bowl looking good. Hmm. Remember, if you've lived here long enough, like they came and then they're like, yeah, this weather's terrible. And then they left. Thankfully, they came back. So at any rate, looking fantastic. If you're heading out to the Pro Bowl, fantastic. If you're doing the Pro Bowl game, whatever it is, really nice looking forecast for us. All right. So that's kind of where we're at. Taking a look at the 7-day forecast, definitely a good looking 7-day forecast here. 70s and 80s for daytime highs, morning lows, 50s and 60s. Yeah. Lauren says it's the Pro Bowl curse. It was for a few years, 100%, man. It was less than desirable, we'll say. Glad that's done. Brian says, funny thing happened on the way to Coffee Talk just now. Eric Live opened to 2021 videos. I first thought, who is that guy? Oh, that's funny. How does that work? I mean, I know how I lost weight, but like, how is it that you opened up to videos from like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, right? Like, interesting. So, anyway, I don't know how the weather would compare. I know the graphics would be fairly similar. Haven't updated those just yet. We'll get there. Got my question. Is it possible snowstorm recycle later next month? I'm still listen. We're working on the long range stuff, but we're looking at about I 43. I need to do some graphing, but for now, my working number's about 43-day recycle. Could be 41, could be 45, but right now I'm kind of working off of a 43-ish day recycle. So Cindy says the 2021 videos are showing at the top of your page. Seriously? Let's check this out together. Facebook.com. Oh, great. All right. So that's stand by. Let's do this together. If we do this, do that. The 2021 videos are. All right. We're going to. I just want to check. I want to see what y'all are talking about. All right. Obviously. I mean, the live is there. So at least that's happening. And then it's yesterday. I don't know why that's showing up. I certainly did not post that unless somebody tagged me or something. See, oh, so you're gonna make me log it? Well, I'm not doing that. All right. Anyway, all right. It looks okay from my 10-second quick glance. It looked okay. I don't know. It was odd. Totally different wardrobe too. Hoodie, jacket, and baseball cap. Interesting, Brian. Others saw it. Mickey says, so that DVD file yesterday in the Lake Mac Tornadoes Crash Coffee Talk. Yes, it did. So I was trying to play it. Yes, I was trying to play it and it did not work. Because it's a VOB file and I did not have success trying to get that to work. I'm watching Coffee Talk from a train in Italy. I wouldn't miss it. Oh my God. Well, good morning over in Italy. I don't even know what time it is in Italy, but that's super cool. Lauren says, is it weird? I'm excited for the new graphics. Welcome to Adulthood. You get excited about graphics. I know. Well, you and me both, as I'm changing banner text colors and things like that, tweaking and tweaking. Carbon fiber. Yeah, well, yeah. I'm excited about. I have no idea when it's going to happen. Don't get too excited. We've got some time. Mickey says blame it on the archaic technology. Yeah, I wonder if I can open it up. All right, documents. I'm going to try it a different way. I tried to force it yesterday, and that's on me. Groundhog Day tornadoes, day before. So the VOB file, if I open it up here, I'm going to try this. And then, bear with me, and then I do a... Let's see. Window capture. I wonder if I do that. And then I do VLC. And hit OK. All right. Yeah, all right. That works. Okay. So this is the... All right, so what we were talking about yesterday... I'm just going to get this all like set up here. So what we were talking about yesterday, this is the 11 o'clock newscast, the night of... Okay, all right. Looks like now, is audio going to work on it? I don't think it is. All right, so how do I get audio input, add audio input capture to... Device is going to be... I have no idea. How do I do audio output? See, I'm trying to get this set up, y'all. I don't know that it's going to work. Add. Oh, VLC video source. That's what I'm looking for. Playlist. Add file. All right, I'm trying. I'm sorry. Bear with me. I know this is bad TV. Old DVD archives. Groundhog Day tornadoes. Day before. That's it. That's how I get it to work. Audio track. Okay. So
Mr. Ames.
Officer Keith Stubbs. It happened.
Well, weekend is coming up.
Mr. Ames. Mr. Ames.
For her 18th.
Another New Year's shooting.
A tenant who doesn't want to be identified is grateful there.
I'm truly blessed, but at the same, I'm highly upset. I never in a million years would have thought this type of thing was going on over here.
I'm trying here. Audio track. Okay. All right. We're going to get this. I think we got this. All right, it's going to play in a second. It's going to take a second. All right, I'm going to do that. All right, we're just going to sit here. Frank's like, yeah, sure. All right, it's just going to sit in the corner, and then when it decides it wants to go, we'll just let it go. What am I looking for? I was trying to find, so we've got a broadcast from the day. So Groundhog Day is Sunday. And back in 2017, there was a terrible tornado outbreak during Groundhog Day. And so I was trying to find the broadcast from that day as it was about to hit. That's all. So eventually, I've got it running.
Listen, I'm an ER doc. Just let me go.
All right, so they're getting ready for the newscast. So eventually that should come up, and when it does, I'll just move it into the screen. Yes, 2000. Did I say 2017? 2007. So anyway, I'm not going to crash the feed. I'm playing it a different way, although it looks very weird. So to that point, transform. Theoretically, it should start to play here in a second. And when it does, we'll see it. So anyway, it's playing right now. It's just a matter of when it gets into the newscast part. Yeah, this was the control room feed, I should add. So that's why it's in black, because they're waiting for 11 o'clock to hit. So I'm just going to put it in the bottom, and then when it starts doing its thing, I'll see it, and then we can go with it. But in talking about it, we can just take a kind of a brief review, because it's a good time to also remember, like, we're getting into our severe weather season, right? So February 2nd, 2007, some very powerful tornadoes touched down. Around the Villages Lady Lake, there was an EF3 tornado that carried winds of 155 to 160 miles an hour. There was an EF3 that touched down around Paisley, crossed Lake Mac, and into DeLand. It was an EF3 with 160 to 165 miles an hour. And then it weakened was an EF1 with 100 to 105 miles an hour. This was February 2nd, 2007. So what I think is so interesting, and hopefully at some point in the not so distant future, we'll be able to watch this video footage. Just check in here. Still playing. At some point, we should be able to watch this video footage, I hope. Maybe not. I think I did all that for naught. All right, let's see here. Let me just, that's Tony, but I wanted to get right off the top here. There we go. All right, let's listen to this. This should work. I'm working on it. Bear with me.
Daytona Beach Speedway. Folks, some severe weather is expected to pound Central Florida in the next few hours. Good evening, everyone. I'm Martha Sigowski.
I'm Jim Payne. The storms are building and racing at highway speeds right now. Let's get straight over to meteorologist Tony Manolfi for a closer look at where they are and the areas expected to get hit the hardest. Tony?
Jimmy, you nailed it. Highway speeds, we're talking 60 to 70 miles an hour. Most of the activity well north of Orlando tonight. You can clearly see where the axis is, Marion County on north, and that's where the brunt of the activity is going to be this evening. Let's zoom in a little bit closer here and highlight the heavy rain. Palm Coast, Ocala, that's where the brunt of the heaviest rains have been. Thankfully, so far, so good in the severe weather department. We haven't had a whole lot of severe weather, but State Highway 40 running east out of Ocala, we had a warning up around that area earlier. Rainfall rates in this particular band on the order of 2 to 3 inches per hour. As we march a little bit farther towards the south and the east, you'll see that again here in Sumter County, we have a few more showers, but there's the cutoff. Leesburg, State Highway 40 on north and east. So now is the time to prepare, especially north. Here's our action plan for tonight. Of course, if you hear thunder, you want to check in with West 2 overnight tonight. That tornado watch is in effect until 1 a.m. More on the severe weather and what to expect for tomorrow morning's commute. Straight ahead. Jim, back to you.
Tony, thanks a lot. Shots fired.
So, yeah, that was a while ago. Jamie says Tony hasn't changed. He looked the same. Well, and I think what's so interesting, too, let me find the very end of the show, because I think that this says so much, too, is like you could tell things were starting to go downhill here at the end of the newscast. Now that I've figured out how to do this, I'm getting there. All right, here we are. All right, so this is the end of the newscast. Let's take a listen to the end of this newscast, and it'll kind of let you know how things were starting to get rocking and rolling.
At this point now, a warning to tell us
Breaking
about.
weather information right now, Tony Manolfi.
Yeah, let's go right to the radar right now. Marion County, again, a tornado warning now in effect until 12:15. Tornado is moving at 65 miles an hour. At least
Wow.
the rotation in this particular thunderstorm. We actually do not have any confirmation as of right now of a tornado on the ground. But Denellen by 11:35, Ocala Airport by 11:40, Silver Spring Shores, Lake Weir, Weirsdale, all by 11:50. Moss Bluff, I'm going to be here throughout the evening, through the early morning hours as this rough weather continues to pass and race quickly to the northeast. So now is the time to prepare. This is a very dangerous situation. If you're in that area, of course, you want to seek shelter immediately. You've got 4 outlets now preparing you and keeping you safe. You've got WESH.com, the CW18, and of course, Bryan House 1020, 1 hour, 24-hour. Now, again, we're going to be here all night, guys. Keep everybody
You'll
safe.
be monitoring everything, and you'll be live at sunrise at 5 a.m.
And tonight, if needed,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, we need you. All right.
And we have 4 hours of news in the morning to wrap this all up. Again, a look at live Super Doppler 2. Tony will be here all night to keep you safe.
Now, that was the storm that essentially brought Tony into being the chief. He was, if you notice, they called him meteorologist Tony Manolfi. But, I mean, he proved himself during that event. And I'm not just saying this because he's my long time buddy and my long time colleague. But he did what he needed to do. He was there all night tracking the tornadoes, and then, of course, the next day was just such a sad story. Such a sad event. Kara says, yeah, nighttime tornado stuff terrifies me, and I never had an alarm or warning go off. Yeah, well, and now we're getting into that kind of tornado season. As a matter of fact, in Central Florida, we've kind of got these 2 different tornado seasons, if you will, right? So the first one, the main one, is what we're about to enter into. February, March, and April. That's when the jet stream can be tapped into to give us kind of a stronger opportunity, right? June, July, August, September, we'll typically get more tornadoes, but they'll be weaker tornadoes. So we're kind of entering into that bit of a chapter there. When was that, Patty? That was 2007. And then 2 days after Groundhog Day was the very first time I was on the air. It was at WESH, I should say. I was asked, so the Groundhog Day tornadoes struck overnight Thursday into Friday, and then I was on WESH 2 News Sunrise that Sunday morning. Those were my first shows on WESH. They were terrible. I was terrible. Jana says, I don't like tornadoes. No. I mean, that's the thing. And I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds here, but I'll just show, let me just show you where I was standing. So let's see. So we today. Yeah, we don't need
From scratch.
we don't need to have that audio up. But let me just show, this was that Sunday morning. Yeah, so this is me Sunday morning. There's Erica Washington. Yeah, so this is, no, that's not me. That's Raul. You remember Raul Martinez, y'all? So this is, it's wild when you look at the footage, right? So this was one of my first live shots ever at WESH. And just look at where I was standing, right? Like that's the thing that's just so tragic. This was someone's home, right? This was a gentleman in DeLand. And what I thought was so interesting about this is how a tornado's damage can be so isolated, right? Notice we're going and looking at all of the stuff in the tree there, but look at all of the clothes in his closet. I found his Bible and I didn't mention this in this hit because I was a terrible communicator back then, which is why we're not listening to it. But I found his Bible in his nightstand, also undisturbed. And one other thing, a picture of his family undisturbed, like disturbed, sure, but not like completely wrecked, I should say. So yeah, that's what's so wild about tornadoes in general. And another thing is, you know, the American flag almost looked like that scene from Iwo Jima. The American flag was kind of tilted a little bit, but it was still there. And, now that we're talking, I remember standing there and hearing the paper deliveries, like the neighborhood completely obliterated. And the paper guy was out there throwing papers at like obliterated trailers. So I thought that, there was something. This was my first event that I was truly in the field. I mean, I was young, I was, that was 07. I was on the air for the first time. I got my big boy job in 06. So I think, what was I, 20, I was 21, I think, 21, 22 years old. And, yeah, it was a truly unique experience for me because it was the first time that I'd been out in that professionally, right? So just having the paper delivery, the American flag still flying, his Bible still in the nightstand, his clothes in the closet, like just a lot. And then the smell of the wood churned up. So, really was eye-opening. Just eye-opening. Just sad. So, I say this and I don't know that we'll be doing, a ton of stories on it because we're in a bit of a quieter pattern, that sort of thing. Every year I always try, and it just depends on the resources we have. But I do want to use this as an opportunity to remind everybody that here we are getting into the end of January. We're starting to open the door for tornado season. Now, that said, we're in a La Nina. And La Nina, when it comes to winter patterns, is not as scary as El Nino. It doesn't mean that it can't get rough. That was, 07 was an El Nino. For us, this kind of pattern should yield a slightly more drier, warmer pattern, but you can always get that jet stream diving. And of course, as it does so, we could get into some rougher conditions. So that's one of those. It's one of those things to remember, is that we're entering into the tornado season. Jessica says, tornadoes freak me out. What a devastating time. It's true. It's true. And even, it's something else. Here, I'll play for you one more video clip real fast. This was, let's see. So this is the video clip of the 11 o'clock news the day it struck. This is just the opening of WESH 2 News the day it struck. Why don't we take a listen?
Brothers and sisters, I'm innocent. All new Law and Order, next Friday on NBC.
Right now at 11, homes flattened and lives destroyed.
People lost their lives in there. It was really sad.
The monster tornado that cut a path across Central Florida kills 19 people. Tonight, the destruction, the lives lost, and the survival stories. WESH 2 has team coverage of the deadly tornadoes.
I'm Miriam Garcia in Lake County. I'll bring you the story of a woman whose mother is now dead and her uncle is missing.
I'm Jim Payne at Lake Mac. I'll take you to the place where the tornado was the deadliest.
I'm Kendra Strike in Volusia County. We're on patrol tonight with police trying to keep the peace and protect property after a day of deadly tornadoes.
I'm Wendy Chioji in Lady Lake in Lake County, where power crews are working hard to get the electricity back on for thousands of people.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Martha Sagowski.
And I'm Jim Payne, tracking the tornado's deadliest path. You're about to see a scene of total annihilation.
Jim, we're going to check back in with you in a moment, but first I want to get right over to meteorologist Tony Manolfi. And Tony, you have some late-breaking details regarding the tornadoes in Sumter County.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The National Weather Service in Tampa Bay had the opportunity today, Martha, to get out there and survey the damage just to the west of Jim Payne in Sumter County. They are now classifying this as an F3 tornado, and what that generally means, winds of 140 to 150 miles an hour.
And what's wild, too, is that we know now that the winds were like 150, 160 miles an hour in that spot.
Over a mobile home park that now looks more like a lumber yard. A wall of homes ripped apart and into land. People picked through debris, hoping to salvage something from inside their home.
And Tony, let's get people caught up on the very latest information. 19 people confirmed dead, at least 1,100 homes damaged. 4 counties under a state of emergency, and tonight 3 shelters are providing refuge for those left homeless. And right now I want to take you out live to where all the damage is. Jim Payne is live in Lake Mack, where the tornadoes did the most destruction, and Wendy Chioji is in Lady Lake, where lack of power is a problem tonight. But we're going to begin with Jim.
Martha, I'm standing in front of the scene of one of the lucky ones right here. This mobile home is being kept up by 3 oak trees that are back behind here. The guy who lives inside says he was awake and felt the entire foundation shake and is thanking his lucky stars that he is one of the lucky ones that remained alive. But in a scene of devastation behind me, 10 people lost their lives. It is very, very sad.
So clearly, you know, when you see this, and those of you that have just moved here to Central Florida, you know, maybe this is one of those things you just didn't realize. But yeah, come spring, we can absolutely get devastating tornadoes. I was reporting live that night right next to Jim, as a matter of fact. And that was a very tough place to be. So just remember, we need to watch. We need to watch things. All right. Coming these next few months, we'll have to watch. All right. So Groundhog Day is always fun for like looking ahead to spring versus winter. But let's not forget the folks that died here in Central Florida back in 2007. All right. All right. So that's where we are this morning. I'm so happy to report that, at least for now, looking at our overall weather pattern, we have absolutely no concerns for severe weather coming whatsoever. Our 7-day is very nice and quiet. And I apologize it took me so long to get that dialed up. I figured it out, though. At least we're able to share a little bit of that. Yeah, so we figured it out. Tornadoes can back build and drop anywhere. You never know, Sonia points out. It's very true. It's very true. Super scary. You'll never forget the sounds nor the smell. For me, it was the smell that completely caught me off guard. Yeah, completely caught me off guard. All right, friends, it's quiet. So let's just enjoy that quiet pattern. Thank you so much for hanging out for Coffee Talk, albeit a bit of a somber one, just in discussing what had happened in the past. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you so much for hanging out. We will see you tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Today, my schedule puts me on the news on WESH 2 News at noon and 4. All right. Janice says that was interesting. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for watching. And then, of course, at the end of February, we've got the 98 tornado outbreak. I have less footage for that. We're digitizing all of our archives, so that'll help me. And then in the meantime, I do have some stories that I've done for the 98 tornado outbreak. So we'll have something to watch. All right. Thank you all so much.